Hey everybody, Nick here. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to talk about the Mandela Effect. Now, I've sort of started to research this over the last little while. I didn't know too much about it, but after going through it, it kind of makes sense to me in many ways. It's also named after the late former president of South Africa, as you probably could have guessed, Nelson Mandela. And it was a term coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome from the United States. She's also an author, and it refers to a phenomenon where a group of people share a false memory about a specific event, person, detail, and essentially there's so many, like if you look up online, and I was looking through some while I was doing my research about it, and the one main one, which is why it's named after Mandela, is that people seem to think that he died in prison, or that he got out of prison in the 80s, I believe it was, but in fact he didn't die until 2013, and he was released from prison in 1990. But a lot of people have the memory that he, didn't make it out of prison. So that's why she coined this term. Let's see some examples of, simple examples of the Mandela Effect. And I have another one that's actually really quite big as well. So a lot of us watch the Looney Tunes, and I'll show the logo on the screen as well. And a lot of people seem to think it was Looney Tunes, like Toons, as you see in the image, but it's in fact Looney Tunes. I actually remember it being Looney Tunes, as in like the Toon Squad, that kind of stuff. So, and I'll get into what my theory is, why this happens. A lot of people will probably think it's just psychological, and over the years people just sort of pick it up and change it as it goes along, which could be true for some things, but I don't think for everything. I don't know, it just seems too unlikely for me. And considering everything that I've been learning over this last few years about the Matrix and everything, how it runs. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. Star Wars, if you watch Star Wars, the movie Empire Strikes Back, one of the main phrases was like, "Luke, I am your father." And the actual line is, "No, I am your father." So I do remember, thinking that it was, "Luke, I am your father," and you can see it everywhere. People will say that phrase. It's really windy today. Another one, which was a cartoon that I used to watch as a child, was the Berenstain Bears. Now, I could have swore it was the Berenstain, not the Berenstain. Berenstain. Very strange. Even the Monopoly guy. I could have swore maybe people mix him up with the Mr. Peanut guy, the Planters logo guy. But I still could have swore the Monopoly guy had a, I don't know, what do you call it? I forget what you call that. A monocle. I was thinking something single. But I could have swore he wore that, but perhaps people mix that one up with, like these are kind of trivial things. I'm sure there's some much bigger things that have gone on that people will think that have happened but haven't happened. Fruit of the Loom was another one. I could have swore there was a cornucopia. The Flintstones, that could just be an issue with the word itself, with the name of the family, Flintstones. It's just, the T can get silent. Like I said, there's a lot of these ones. If you look up online, you can see them. Now, I was reading a psychologist talking about why the Mandela Effect happens. And she goes on saying how memory is kind of reconstructive, and when you have a memory of something, it gets stored there in the hippocampus, I believe it was. And when you recall a memory, it's always reconstructive, right? It's not like you're going to have the exact same memory. But I don't know how wordage and things like that, maybe you hear it somewhere else. I don't know. Like, I just don't, that could be a possibility for the words. But what about memories of like situations or incidences that happen? How can you change? Like, I'll give you an example. One of the big ones was the Tiananmen Square, where you have the image. It's a very iconic image, and you see the guy in front of the tank. Now, some people would have the memory that he got killed by the tank, but in reality, they grabbed him out in front of the tank. They didn't, in fact, kill him. They probably killed him after because it was China and all that stuff, but they removed him out in front of the tank. But a lot of people will have the memory that, oh no, they killed him. So I don't know where that memory can come from personally. There's so many little things, like things that people... another one I remember from Star Trek was the Beam Me Up Scotty. I don't know where that came from, but apparently it was never mentioned in the series or any of the films for that matter, I'm pretty sure. Because some of the fans would ask them, oh, do you remember filming this? And the actors wouldn't have any clue what they're talking about. So that was a big one too, when it comes to memories of Tiananmen Square. There's also the statue, the Thinker, which I think is about just over 100 years old now. I think there's one in Stanford. I'm not sure how many of them are, but the one that I noticed, and you see people posting pictures of it, is that they are posing with their hand kind of like on their forehead, imitating the statue. You'd think that like maybe one person, two people are just sort of, changing it up a bit. No, but he's actually in the statue, has his hand on just under his chin, right? Now all these people are taking photos near the statue with their hand on their forehead. So in their mind, that's what they remember it as. So how can so many people have the same memory or of how an item is or how an object is? It's very strange. So that's another pretty big one. I'm sure there's many, many more. My personal belief is some things, yes, we could maybe, believe that it's one thing or another, little things like words or little details. I'm talking about like logos and things like that. And maybe we remembered it like that. But certain historical things, something that has been around for a long time, it's bizarre. It's bizarre to me. So I think personally that it could be the Matrix, glitching out. It could be reprogramming of the Matrix. I really don't know. It could be manipulation through the Matrix, like I said, reprogramming. It's just very strange how it could happen. Another theory I heard is that it could be somebody who's going through time and changing time or changing details in the how things have happened and unfolded. I don't know if that's holds water or not. And I'm kind of just, talking here and hypothesizing, but it truly does seem like the Matrix is flipping out. It's a very interesting topic, the Mandela Effect. Whenever I try to remember certain things, you can never really remember them exactly the way they happened. But I don't know if your personal memories have kind of anything to do with that. But it's interesting how we look at things how we always thought they were, and then it's like, what? It's a little different than, it's not what I thought it was. It's just like this world. It's not what we thought it was. Very bizarre. Another one I remember is like the Ford logo, and you'd think that it had like a little squiggly F, on the F part, but it's actually not. And they've confirmed with these companies to see if they've made changes. It's not like they made these changes and then no one really notices. It's very odd. Very interesting as well. One of the other possibilities that I was thinking about and I read about online is that this could be a parallel universe or an alternate universe. Maybe because, like, if you remember the movie or the show Fringe, they were in the multiverse kind of thing. I think it was a parallel universe, and things were slightly different, but the same kind of. That's another possibility as to why maybe some of us are remembering this, and we're getting sort of signals from another parallel universe. I don't know. It's very strange how some of us are remembering certain details, and maybe that's how it was in the other universe. I don't know. Like, how would we be thinking that it's one way, so many different things, but it's not? Are we in a parallel universe? Are we getting memories from another universe, timeline or something? I don't know. It's kind of, it's just a possibility, I guess. That's just my 2 cents on the Mandela Effect. I don't know every single thing about it. I just think that you have to think of the possibilities of what could be causing it. But let me know what your thoughts are. Anything you noticed that has been affected, that could be a result of the Mandela Effect. But yeah, leave a comment, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.